Rain battered the steel ruins of the outpost as Sergeant Caleb Marin limped through the warped corridor, his synthetic knee joint hissing with every step. The war was over. His platoon was gone. And now, the only thing waiting for him was the cold silence of dishonor. Dishonor for saving civilians instead of obeying a direct order. The brass called it treason. The aliens called it compassion. And that, strangely enough, was why the dying king of Frexel had summoned him. Caleb had expected an execution. Instead, he was handed a strange, growling bundle wrapped in scales and attitude. This, the king wheezed from his bed of biocrystals, is my heir, my last blood. No one here wants her. She talks like us, thinks like us. She was altered in the womb by a Terran scientist. Caleb stared at the snarling baby dragon. No larger than a large dog, white scale with eyes like molten gold. I'm no babysitter. No, the king rasped, a strange smirk tugging at his reptilian lips. But you're a man who protects the small, even when he's punished for it. She needs someone like that. The dragonling sneezed sparks at Caleb. The king died 3 hours later. The ship Caleb was given for the journey back to human space was old, slow, and barely held together. The dragonling, whom he decided to call Pip, short for pain and posterior, was not grateful. She bit the control panel, nearly fried the engines with a plasma sneeze, and repeatedly asked existential questions no human toddler should know. Why do your people lie so easily? She asked, tail coiling around Caleb's bunk. Why do you breathe fire when you're cranky? I don't know, she admitted, curling tighter. Is that bad? Caleb sighed and tossed her a scrap of jerky. No, it means you're honest about what hurts. By the time they reached the human border colonies, Caleb had no illusions. Pip wasn't just talking. She was learning. Fast. She mimicked accents, emotions, and even manipulated a customs officer into giving them priority, docking by pretending to cry. That alone should have alarmed him. But when a gang of ex-mercs tried to hijack their ship in the scrapyard hangars of Deca 9, it was Pip who stepped forward, tail flaring, wings extended. She's just a baby, one thug laughed, until Pip opened her mouth and said, in perfect growling-toned English, touch my human again, and I will end your bloodline with elegance. They ran. Caleb didn't want attention. Unfortunately, it followed them like Pip followed the smell of roasted meat. Word spread. A dishonored vet traveling with a telepathic, human-speaking alien dragonling. Some called it heresy. Others called it valuable. Offers came in. Scientists, military generals, black market handlers. You can't sell me, Pip said one night, curled in his lap. I know you're poor. I can make you rich. I'm not selling you, Pip. But then why do we keep running? Caleb sighed, rubbing his temples. Because they want to own you, not love you. And I promise your father you grow up free. Pip blinked slowly. You promised him, not me. Caleb raised a brow. She leaned her head on his shoulder. But I'm glad you did. On their 100th day together, they reached the frontier planet of Lys. Quiet, green, and forgotten by war, it was exactly the kind of place Caleb needed. He found a job fixing old machinery. Pip chased insects and questioned stars. At night, she curled beside him in their small cabin and whispered stories she half remembered from the king's mind. Tales of ancient Frexel rituals of fire dances and skyborn duels. It was peaceful until the bounty hunters came. They've got plasma nets, Pip warned, voice trembling as she peered through the window. 2 drones. 1 ship. They're using scent lockers. They came prepared. Caleb's hands tightened around the old rifle he hadn't touched in months. We run. No, they'll just follow. Pip looked up at him, voice small. Then let me fight. You're too young. I am fire, Caleb. Let me burn for something. His heart broke a little at her bravery, but in the end they fought side by side. The first drone was taken out with an EMP trap Caleb buried weeks ago, just in case. The second by Pip's claws. The bounty hunters underestimated the baby. Pip outmaneuvered them in the skies, drawing them toward Caleb's line of fire. One plasma bolt to the engine, and their ship cratered into a hill. The next morning, the town gathered around the wreckage. There were no cheers, just wide eyes and silence as Pip hovered protectively beside Caleb, wings still glowing faintly with heat. "She saved us," someone whispered. "Didn't know a dragon could cry," another said, because Pip was crying quietly, shaking from the overload of her first real fight. Caleb didn't say anything. He just scooped her into his arms. And in that moment, the people saw something not monstrous, but meaningful. Months later, Pip had grown. Her wings spanned 10 feet. Her voice was deeper. She still asked impossible questions, and she still curled around Caleb's bunk at night when she had nightmares of her father's death. But the people of Liss had changed too. They didn't fear her anymore. They invited her to community events, asked her to light bonfires with her flame, and gifted her painted stones and alien fruit. One night, sitting under the stars, Pip whispered, "He would have liked you, Caleb." "Your father?" "Yes. You didn't treat me like a weapon. You let me be strange." "You're not strange. You're just young. And dangerous." She smiled. "So were you once." And though the galaxies still whisper about the despised dragon princess with human soul, and though bounty hunters still stalk the edges of known space, on Liss she was home, because the human veteran who had nothing left had given her everything: a name, a promise, and a future worth burning for.